his daughter Vanessa Nosie. Thank you.
Takotashi Vanessa Nosie Gose, she San Carlos Goluyu, she Chiricahua. Hello, my name is Vanessa Nosie. I'm a Chiricahua Apache enrolled in the San Carlos Apache tribe. First, I'd like to thank Laura and everybody that helped create this event. It's great to see all of us come together and unify all nations. This is very important for us today because we're in the continued fight to protect sacred land, to protect our identity. With Oak Flat, right now we're in the process that Tonto National U.S. Forest Service, their draft EIS, their draft environmental impact statement was released. And so now we're in the time of public comments and public hearings that happen. I'm asking everybody to come out. If you don't know about Oak Flat, please ask, because what's happening at Oak Flat will set the precedent to what's going to happen everywhere around this world. It's a huge genocide on indigenous religion, on Apache, on Yavapai, on O'odham religion. All the indigenous people that travel through there. There's history of all people. Then it's also an environmental issue. It is a water issue, and it is a future generational issue, because what are we going to leave our future generations? What kind of earth are we going to leave them? Are they going to be able to breathe clean air and have clean water? And with Oak Flat, that touches on all of it. They're going to contaminate our water. They're going to contaminate our air quality. And so we have a booth. The Apache Stronghold has a booth here, and we're asking for people to come and sign their public comments. You can either write your own, or we have a general one that's already written. So please come over and show your support, because what can happen at Oak Flat can happen anywhere, especially if they're exempt from all federal laws, meaning that they're not going to do anything to protect our way of life, our identity. With that, it's important to continue to unify and stand in solidarity with one another and become that one nation that we're meant to be in order to stop corporations and dirty politicians. So I thank you for you guys to being here and sharing your history and your culture, because we are beautiful and resilient people, and we are still alive. So I want to thank you guys. I also want to introduce my father, former chairman and Peridot councilman of the San Carlos Apache tribe, Dr. Wendsler Nosie Sr. He is the leader of the Apache Stronghold, a leader for the Apache people, and a leader for all people. His words are symbolize of what we need to do and how we need to unify as people. Everything that he has done in his life and has sacrificed is for the people, of all people. His message comes from Creator. So I want to introduce him again, my father, Wendsler Nosie Sr.
Well, first of all, I just want to say that it's always an honor to be among people and share your experience. As Vanessa was indicating, I've been with the tribal government for over 36 years. I served as council and as chair for the San Carlos Apache tribe. But growing up, my main goal was I was always with the medicine people, the holy people, and growing up about taking care and what our responsibility is about just being people. And I've never expected my journey to be what it is, as what she indicated. And it's always amazing that when people introduce you, it's sort of like come to a stop sign and you stop and you kind of look back to all the things that you've done, and yet you're still going forward. It hasn't ended yet. And I think sometimes that's kind of the break for me to stop and look back and really understand what you've gone through. And the reason why I say that is Again, it comes back to it's an honor to be here to participate in what we call the Indigenous Day. But I think we all know that it's every day, But because of the way society is, it has to proclaim something. And I always go back to like the Apache Wars. We had holy people. We didn't have chiefs or warriors. We had holy people. We had people that signify what that meant towards survival every day. But not until all these atrocities that took place began to label our people. And the same way today. It begins to label us as to make the dominant society understand who we are, I guess. But the reason why I say it is because every day is a special day. Every day is a day that we have responsibilities to the earth. And that's in recognition to all of us, not just the Native people. We have the responsibility to take care of what we have. And I say that because I'm 60 years old, and I still carry those responsibilities as I was when I was a lot younger and being around the holy people. One time somebody asked me, can you describe yourself, or what would be the best if you could describe yourself? And at that time I told them that I feel like I'm the pooper scooper. And you know what that is in a parade? Every time the horse goes to the bathroom, you clean it up, and it doesn't look like he ever did anything on the highway. Well, for me, I always felt like I did that in growing up so that we could all move forward and do the things that we need to do to get done as people. And for me, I still feel the same way because it hasn't ended for me. And what Vanessa just spoke of is something very critical that's happening, not just at Oak Flats, but all over the country. All over the country. So I just want to use some examples to help you understand. In Prescott, Arizona, I was given the opportunity to talk to about 300 people from the church. So Prescott invited us up to bring the news to Prescott what's happening at Oak Flats. Because this is a religious issue. A religious issue is occurring right here in the backyard of Phoenix. This religious issue, if it stays as is, it sets precedents all over Indian country. But not only Indian country, but in America itself. Because we're talking about federal land. We're talking about federal land that the United States government has a responsibility. And that if you look at the Constitution of this country, it specifically outlines federal land. So those of you here who are tribal members and belong to a tribe, your tribe is being affected by what's occurring at Oak Flats today. Because if this remains, then what it does is that it disqualifies any of religious activities on our reservations. That's what it does. It takes away your religious rights. So it's not just at Oak Flats. This is why 461 tribes, there's over 500 recognized tribes, but 461 tribes have band together through a resolution to defend this place. Because the outcome is going to affect all of us. So no matter what tribe you come from, you're being affected by this. And this is how scary it is. But then when you go a little bit further, the Americans that call themselves, through being an American, their religious rights will also be affected. But it also tears them apart because, correct me if I'm wrong, a lot of the people who came here, as they say, for religious purposes and religious rights to exercise their freedom of religion. Because of what was happening in the European countries, they came here. So how can they live forward knowing that the original religion from this country is being desecrated? What makes theirs better than ours? There's no such thing. What it is conscience. What it is the belief of something that is super, that has created all of this. and has given us a responsibility. So if these religions in North America are destroyed, then all the other religion that is here practicing really doesn't have a base, because you cannot destroy any other person's religion. And like the way we're told by the old people, it's like going to the top of the mountain. There are many trails that take you to the top. They all lead to the same place. But it's not for you to destroy anybody else's religion. And that's how we're taught. But what's happening here in America in the religion is that this religion, the oldest religion of North America, is being attacked right now, politically, through the United States government. And what are all religious people doing in America to defend the oldest one? And so let me take you back to my discussion in Prescott. So at the end, I told the denomination there, over 300 people, and I had my little group who came with me, and they were panicking when I was talking, because I ended with this. You know, I said, in our culture, which is our religion, we're told every day of what to respect. We're told every day to what to care for. We're reminded every second by every breath we take. The breath we take reminds us the importance of what our spirituality is. That's why the language is so strong, because the language educates you that. The language is built within what is intertwined in the world that makes up what is spirituality. Everything has a spirit. So in the religion, in the language, it explains that. So every time we're awakened or we're talked to, it is a reminder from every breath we take. So what that means is that from a young child, the protection of the earth has already started, of Mother Earth. And that's the responsibility. So what I told the church in Prescott was that your days of coming to the church every Sunday is over. You have to practice what you've been taught every day, not only on Sundays. Because that day is over, because the earth is suffering, Mother Earth is suffering, people are suffering. Is that what you are taught through your Bible, it is now time to use it as the way you were taught. So I'm sorry to say, the days of coming here every Sunday is over. I said, because I'm sure your preacher, your reverend, would be more than happy to see that you're exercising what he taught you or what she taught you, and fulfilling the obligations of what your Bible says about Jesus and about God. So coming here every Sunday and thinking that by repenting that you're safe, you're not. Because you have to protect what God created the world. And this is what the Indian people are. So the little group I had were panicking because this would happen in the church. And there was a complete silence, but within a few seconds, everybody stood up and began to clap. And the preacher looked at me, and when it was over, I told him, you now have a new job on your hands. It's now time for the people to exercise the things that you've taught them of the importance of what spirituality is. And do not be afraid. So, in return, a lot of good things came from that. But what I'm trying to say is that we are in that time. The start has already started. The devastation is already taking place. The damages are already damaged. The last thing we have is healing. The healing of where we are and what we're going to do with it. That's where we're at. Now, if we go out every day and just doing what we think, that's not cutting it. That's not knowing what spiritual is. That's not holding what God created the world to be. Just like today, how many of us remember that locos? The clouds are moving in. After this, you're going to feel the strong wind that will come through. That's the changing of the season. That's putting the whole earth in a different mode about what life is and how we interact together. So coming here and looking at the clouds, of course, Locos are spiritual people, people who have left this earth and they're making their rounds. And every peak of the mound that's holy, when the clouds rest on those mounds, it gives them a last time to touch the earth. That's what you see here. These are ancestors. These are people who just left, moving. Because within the water, it gives continuing life. And so, how many of us remember that and appreciate that? Then when the wind comes in, it's the message to begin to tell every living thing that things are changing. Be ready, be prepared. It's a blessing. So that's going to come in a week or two. You'll feel it. And those are the times that we pray, because those are the times that our strong message is delivered to everything within Nago-san, our mother. So I guess if there's anything that I'd like to leave you and share with you in a very short period time and trying to summarize what I think is really important is the fact that we're not comfortable no more. The earth, our mother, is suffering. And as the prophecy says, is that we're leading in a road that we shouldn't go down to. And that we have to pull the bridle to be able to stop these devastations that are taking place. So what Vanessa just shared with you is that this project was exempt from the United States Congress. Federal laws were exempt from the natural resources to the water, to the air quality, to the environment. The United States government, through John McCain, exempt foreign mining companies. No laws apply to them. 75% is leaving this country. And when people believe in jobs with the mines, just go by and visit mining towns that have been there for years. There are people that have health issues. The town is suffering. So I have to remind Globe, and I don't know how many of you know where San Carlos is at, but if you ever go to Globe, on the east end, the nearest part of the town to the reservation is the most healthiest one. Because our people go there and spend money and put money into the economy. The rest of the towns are dead because the mines have already left. People are buying homes and land, and they can only own 6 feet down. The mine owns everything underneath the Globe, Miami, and all the mining towns, which means that they control the water, the spring water, the aquifers. Right now, here in the state of Arizona and in the federal government, there's a big fight about the water. And those are tribes that own water. What they say is that when the mining takes all the water and contaminates all the water, then the remaining water that belongs to the tribes will be divvied up. So they tell all Mesa, Tempe, Phoenix, Gilbert, don't worry, because we will take the Native American water. So all this is underground that's already formatting so that it can happen when we lose that much water. They made deals with Mexico that they will be building Mexico some power plants so that we can run water through their land into Arizona so that we can begin to process and refilter ocean water to be used here in Arizona. I'm in Montana. Montana's meeting because they're talking about state laws of how can we change state laws to keep the southern part people away from coming into the northern part. So now they're talking about like how we talk about the pipeline, what's happening with the oil. Well, they're also talking about how can they pipe water down from Montana into the southern states so that the people don't go up to the northern part of this country. All those discussions are happening now. But our legislators, our leaders are not telling us. And that's what's really sad, because they're controlled by the corporations. They're controlled from those people, even though we're the ones that elect them and put them in. So people, the time is already. So what we need to do now is act. And in Old Flats, we've taken the position to take it spiritually. And the reason why is because we're fighting evil. All of us here is fighting what's evil. So now it's time to put our side apart and began to work for everything that we were given as a gift to take care of. That's our responsibility. If we believe in something greater, there's no other way I can tell you. There's no other way I can put it except to tell you the reality of what's happening. This bill, the only bill in this country, exempts a foreign mining company. And the reason why you don't know is because everybody bought into the amount of dollars they were going to make and the amount of jobs that were going to come to Arizona. That's why you don't know. And top of that, it's a mining state, so the media keeps it low, suppress the news. Because when the water issues surface, it's going to bring fear. And pressure will be put on our state leaders and our elected leaders that go to Congress. But you know, people, we need to pay attention. We need to get involved. We need to see actually what they're doing. Because no matter where we come from, we're all in this together. If we care about our children and those yet to be born. So, for me being a relative to you and thinking about my mother, today when the clouds roll in, she would always go out there and greet the first locos that comes in. And these are the things that I share with my children, my daughters, my son, to carry it on within the family. And it was her greeting, and I want to just leave that with you, because you've opened up your hearts, you open up your mind to listen to what I have to say. And there's no way I can lie to you. There's no way I will exaggerate from you. There's no way I will take your money, because we need each other. We need each other's spirit to protect what's left. So just bear with me. It's more of a prayer for me. So I end with that, only because we're in a time that we're all suffering. You know, it's not a game to come up here and stand before you, or an entertainment. There's something really critical that's going on, and we need to pay attention and be open-minded so that we know what we need to do. So thank you, all of you, for giving me the time. Yeah, thank you.